All right, Patreon. This answer is for Brandon Palk, who asked, "How do good men self-motivate?" I don't know how good men do it, but I can tell you some of the ways that I do it. Um, this is a pretty apt subject for me to answer currently because I have spent the last 24 plus hours being really sick, and I am going to spend probably the next 20 hours just being sick, and hopefully the next 24 hours after that getting on my way back to wellness. Speaking of, thank you, Buzzard Roost. All right, how do good men self motivate? I'm not in bed right now because I cannot stomach the idea of spending another 24 hours laying in bed. The reason for that is that there are so many things that require my attention, things and people and projects and ministries and companies and clients and friends and all the things. And so there's kind of a, not even a duality. There's different factors here that inform one another. Because over here we have my sense of purpose, then over here we have the commitments that I've made both to the Most High and to the world. And I'm using the term the world loosely, not to the prince of this world for sure, but commitments that I have here on earth and commitments that I've made to our Creator. Okay. And those two things, my sense of purpose and my commitments, do this. So I'm very conscious of the fact that I have these commitments. Believe me, I've more or less turned my phone off for the last 24 hours because even in being really sick, I've still gotten hundreds of emails and dozens of text messages and phone calls, and I'm like, love y'all, but I can't do it right now. But it reminds me of my commitments, both to the kingdom, to the Father, and to the world. And so I'm very mindful of that. And I don't like, as a product of my personality type, I don't like to disappoint people. I have to be careful with that because I have learned over the years to that I need to under promise and over deliver, or I will get myself in a situation where I over promise and under deliver, which I don't like doing. I feel kind of like a scumbag at that point. Um, but having these worldly commitments and these commitments to the kingdom informs my sense of purpose. It's who I am and what I do, which explains the why. Why do you do it? And there's the big overarching, I do it to put a smile on the Father's face. But really, in the micro, I do it because there's a pressure that's put on me in a good way, in a motivating way to perform for my Creator, to perform for all these people that to one degree or another are dependent on me. My wife, my children, my tribe, my friends, my patrons, my viewers, my business associates, my clients, just everybody. I feel a deep responsibility to perform for people who have put their trust in me. And the more trust they put in me, the deeper my sense of responsibility to them. Um, and I take it really damn seriously, to the point where sometimes the Father does maketh me lie down so that I can get a break from it. Um, and that's my own personal character trait, is learning to constantly course correct between taking care of myself and taking care of others. But my sense of purpose motivates me quite a bit, and my sense of purpose is completely informed by the commitments I make both to my Creator and to I make to y'all here in the world. Um, Another way that I stay motivated is, in a nutshell, loving rebukes from my brethren. Um, Now, this is not self motivation, this is external motivation. But we need that. We need the accountability. I need the people that I text regularly to say, hey, stepped on the scale this morning and my weight was this. Which at the time of shooting this video, my weight was 288. When I started this weight loss journey, it was 334. So what is that? 46 pounds down currently. Next stop is 265, then after that 235. But I've got people that I check in with regularly for that external accountability, because that motivates me, so that I'm not playing tricks on myself, so that I'm not negotiating with myself, that I have external factors that hold me accountable. So accountability is great, and I lean on brothers for that, both spiritually and worldly. Spiritually being the forefront, that I continue to conduct my life in the best possible way to be of benefit to the kingdom, which of course then allows me to enact and achieve my commitments, which informs my sense of purpose, which contributes to my self-motivation. See what we're doing here? But man, the education and edification that comes through friendship and brotherhood, and the loving rebukes when you need them, they're great. They're great, and that's a big part of how I stay motivated. I love pats on the back as well. I love them. I love constructive criticism as well. I love it when people are like, "Man, you suck, but here's why." Okay, I can take that. And I give it a lot of credence when that comes from people whom I love. When people who are really important to me pull me aside and go, "Hey, man, you're great, but Roger that. Thank you. That means a lot to me that you would take your time to let me know these things that you think are an issue, that you would help me grow to be better in these areas." So I would look to your brothers as well, Mr. Brandon Pauk. Who do you have for accountability, so that you can take that external accountability and turn it into internal motivation? Kind of balancing all of that, rest when needed. This is something that I'm going through currently. It is September when I'm filming this, and September is supposed to be a sabbatical month for me. It's actually September the 10th right now, which is the last day of my Nazarite vow. But it's supposed to be a sabbatical month for me. I'm not supposed to be doing anything this month unless I want to do it. And thus far, the month is 1/3 over, and it has been the precise opposite of restful for me. The precise opposite of restful for me. And that sucks for me, frankly. And the only thing that I can do is course correct, is to be better. And that briefly, there's this very interesting thing that is happening in my life where more and more people want access to me. And I'm humbled by it, and I'm amazed by it, and it's awesome. But there's only one key, there's only one bear, and it's difficult to honor the love that y'all send my way, and still have enough of me left over at the end of the day to be good to myself, to be good to my wife, to be good to my kids, to be good to my friends and my tribe, and to not spread myself too thin. It's very difficult for me, because I want to honor every single person that comes into my life with positivity, and there's just not enough of me to go around, and I hate that, frankly. I'd love to talk to every one of you on the phone. In fact, that was our winter holiday gift last year, our Christmas gift last year, even though we don't celebrate Christmas, was phone calls to all the patrons. We only had 200 of them at the time, so that was doable, and it still used up a month of my life. There's no way I could do that now. I can't even get to all the emails, which comes back to rest when needed. Know when you need to take a break, and then take a break, because when you're running on empty, it's really hard to get motivated. Believe me. And then that comes back to what everything I was just saying is delegating. We have I now have, well, I have one person that helps me run the business aspects. I have one person that helps me run the charity aspects. I have one person that helps me run the prayer circle, men's prayer group, and I'm probably going to look into getting an intern for the first aid company as well. And I'm not accepting any new coaching clients for the time being, and I'm not accepting any new consulting work for the time being, and I'm just going to focus on what I have currently, because what I have is more than I can handle. So, Brandon Park, you need to rest when needed and delegate as needed, just like I need to rest when needed and delegate as needed. And then the last thing that comes to mind is staying motivated and self-motivation. Is sometimes we need to shift our worldview from the macro to the micro. Sometimes we get so caught up in the big picture that we lose the forest for the trees. We lose the trees for the forest. You know what I'm trying to say here. Our perspective sucks. When our perspective sucks, it's really hard for us to understand, why the hell am I doing this in the first place? So sometimes we need to shift our perspective, change our focus. Again, this is a sabbatical month for me. I've been focusing on spring 2020. There's a lot of things that I need to accomplish by spring 2020. And what I've done is, rather than pulling back from that distance, spring 2020, coming all the way down to, what are we going to do today? When's the next time I really need to worry about any of these things? October 1st. So what are we just going to do today? So that gets me out of the macro and into the micro. And then I'm not terribly concerned. I am not letting myself be terribly concerned with the macro, with the big picture right now. Instead, I'm intentionally focusing on the micro right now. And then that helps me get motivated in the moment, rather than being inundated by all the big long-term strategic things. I can get down here on the tactical level, on the daily, the hourly level. And that helps quite a bit, just to change your perspective. So how do good men self-motivate? Man, I don't know. But there's a bit of talk on how I do it. And frankly, there's mornings where I got to listen to Jocko. I've got to listen to, go anyway. Good, because there's days I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to ruck. I don't want to, get on the phone and deal with this person who's been a pain in my butt and have to orchestrate these things on behalf of a client or whatever. I don't want to do those things, but want doesn't matter. It's need. So if we're going to take the field, let's do it of our own accord, and let's do it with a sense of purpose and that motivation to go forth and get it done. So, but even then, if you think about Jocko and what Jocko's videos are doing for me, what they're doing for you on those mornings when I do need that motivation, that's not self-motivation. That's some kind of proxy for brotherhood, for being sharpened by somebody else. And so that's external motivation, and that's just fine. But I would encourage you to look at the brethren in your own life. Who are the people that you lean on? And on the days that are rough for you, hey man, I send texts many a time that are pretty short and cryptic, actually, that are just like, hey, I need help with this, and please pray over this. Or, man, I'm really struggling today, lift me up, or whatever. And it helps just to know that there's people on the other end. And it helps to be able to just reach out and talk to somebody, even if it's for 10 minutes, and just go, man, today's one of those days. Please help me maintain my sanity. So, Brandon Park, that's what I've got for you, brother. Shalom.